Hey everybody, welcome back to another news roundup. Hope you guys been enjoying the content channel as of late. This should be a smaller video compared to the last one. The last one was nearly an hour. There's a lot of news that happened that past week. This week's pretty light, so hopefully this will be a lot smaller in terms of a runtime, but we'll see where things go. But we're going to cut this short as we always do, and we're just going to dive right on in. So the first story we're going to discuss that came out this week, or this past week, was in relation to Shrek 5, which we know was going to be released next year. Looks like that is going to be no longer the case, because Shrek 5 has now been delayed about 6 months from now, moving from its initial release date, which was December 23rd, 2026, to June 30th, 2027. So it'll be now opening in the summertime of 2027. And in light of this delay, an untitled Illumination film has been moved up to April 16th of 2027. So making room for now Shrek 5 coming into the picture. So Universal just kind of shuffling some stuff around, and we have more news about Universal in the next story. But this makes total sense, especially once you realize that specific date, December 23rd, 2026, it is actually a pretty packed day currently, because that's the day that Avengers Doomsday is slated to come out. Dune Part 3 is scheduled out right now, and Ice Age 6. So expect a lot more delays in the coming wake that is Avengers. You'll probably hear Dune get delayed to 2027. You'll probably hear Ice Age 6 also get pushed to 2027. Shrek 5 just happens to be the first of that collection that happens to move off from that date. So I'm not surprised. I mean, Avengers is going to be the one that dominates, so I'm pretty sure these other two are going to move at some point. So it makes all the sense. I just have to wait a little bit longer now. And I think it's a lot more fitting for a film like Shrek to release in the summertime, because you're bound to get a lot of attention. So I think it makes a lot more sense. So yeah. So it just makes sense. And any day now, and you'll hear some new release dates for Dune 3 and Ice Age 6 in probably in the next few months. But we'll wait until we hear from those. But until then, Shrek 5 will now be coming out on June 30th, 2027. So there you have that. Also in relation to Universal, very interesting story actually, in regards to the Jason Bourne franchise. Now, we talked about a story a few months back where Universal actually had lost out on the film rights to the Jason Bourne franchise, because the estate that holds the rights, WME, they were actually seeking out different distribution, and they did some offers here and there, or looked at a few offers here and there, some of which included, or at least not offers, my apologies. They seeked out distributors, some of which included 2 streamers and 1 major studio, according to Deadline. But I'm not sure if there were any offers that were made, or if they were just not compelled by what those studios and platforms were willing to offer up as a future for the brand. Well, it looks like the estate came back to Universal. Universal offered then a larger deal that potentially outweighed other bidders, and it now seems that they have won back the film rights to the Jason Bourne franchise in perpetuity. And this includes the television rights. This also includes the film rights. It does not include the publishing rights. Those are still up with the estate. But it looks like Universal has gotten Jason Bourne back, surprisingly. Now, according to Deadline, Edward Berger's planned film, Edward Berger, you guys may be familiar with movies such as All Quiet on the Western Front, the remake that came out a few years ago, which was very good. Also recently did Conclave, which I also thought was pretty good. He was in development of a Jason Bourne film. Now that feature actually carries a screenplay, which was written by Joe Barton, who I'm not familiar with. I didn't do any research beforehand. But no word yet if Matt Damon will return for this project. And this project initially, upon the leave of the estate from Universal, it seemed as though this project was dead. But apparently it is not. It's still being planned out now, of course, now with Universal maintaining the rights. So we might see more Jason Bourne in the future. Obviously, we will be seeing more Jason Bourne in the future because Universal has won back the rights. So, my thing about this is that there must have been some very large promises made to the estate to make progress on more films, because it's very convenient to see this turnaround. And, I mean, I didn't blame the estate either for moving away from Universal, because it been almost 10 years since Jason Bourne was ever on the big screen. I know there was a TV show, Treadstone, but I mean, that I believe got very little attention. So there must have been some big promises made within this large deal that they had with them. But it's good to hear that, that there is indeed some progress being made. We have now the Edward Berger film, which seems to be moving forward now. Again, we don't know if Matt Damon's involved, but there's promises literally to that of the estate and promises to that of the audience. So good for Universal, and hopefully this will mean good things for the future of Jason Bourne. But we'll just have to wait and see, and we'll see how Edward Berger's film develops, and we'll see if Matt Damon returns. Probably will, but we'll see. So. Alrighty, let's step away from Universal and let's get into some discussions regarding Warner Brothers. They are having a happy time right now because a film called Weapons is doing very, very well for them. So much so that they are actually in early discussions with the director, Zach Kreger, who also helmed the film Barbarian, which also I think did fairly well financially. They are planning out potentially a prequel for Weapons, which would follow the strange aunt who arrives in the town that the film is set in. Now, I spoiled myself about this film. I was surprised to know that I wasn't off at all from my assumptions based on the trailer. It pretty much is what I thought it was. So I won't spoil it here in case any of you guys haven't seen the film. I mean, it seems like a lot of you did, because financially it's done very well. But it looks like a prequel might be in development. Now, according to The Hollywood Reporter, Zach Kregen's initial screenplay for Weapons did indeed include sections about the origins to the Ant character, and they were decidedly tossed out to cut out the fat from the script. Now, there's no suggestion that those elements are going to be brought over, but they could be used as a stepping off point to developing a prequel of some kind. Now, also, according to Hollywood Reporter, no deals have been made. There's no confirmation of any timeline, so it may not be a prequel. It could be a sequel. I don't know. And I didn't see the film, so I can't say if there would indeed be a sequel at all. But all that talk right now is on hold because Zach Kregen is currently developing the next Resident Evil for Sony Pictures. I believe he's doing a prep right now. But according to the Hollywood Reporter, in regards to Zach Kregen, who appears to be becoming a hot name right now, he received a $10 million payday up front for his work in Weapons, and is currently working between now multiple projects, one of which we just brought up is Resident Evil, where he's actually reportedly set to receive a $20 million payday for that, so he's eating good right now. Of course, this prequel to Weapons, which is being in talks right now, and an original sci-fi story entitled Flood, And more intriguingly, a DC Studios feature entitled Henchman, which would follow as you guessed it, a henchman who actually ends up taking down the Batman. So interesting stuff on the horizon for this filmmaker. Definitely a hot name right now, but I understand why the conversations are happening right now relating to weapons. I understand why they're happening right now because of the potential for a brand new franchise, given the great performance Weapons is having right now. I think that if the margins are still low and you can guarantee the creatives to be involved, I think you might win at taking another bite from the same apple. But you also risk this being a one and done, especially since you know everything that's to come if they were to move forward with ahead of a prequel. The issue you always run for prequel is what do you bring from it that audiences don't already know about this world? That would be the hard thing to get over, and perhaps some things are just better left mysterious, But like I said, I never saw Weapons because I never, personally, based on the trailer, I never loved the supernatural angle that took place. And apparently, spoilers, I guess it is, in fact, what happens. But I don't know. I think for the moment, it's better to let this be. I think to let it develop a fan base of its own. Don't just commit right away to another one. But again, I wouldn't put it past them because of just how well it's done. And potentially they could, again, just do it for cheap. So, but clearly the director's name is a hot name right now. So whatever he does, it sounds like Warner Brothers wants to keep in business with him. And I do not blame him given the results. So I mean, it's a good time to be Zach Creggan. That's what I'll say right now. Definitely with all the projects he's got lined up, it seems like a good time to be him right now. So. Speaking of Warner Brothers, and speaking of things that they might be celebrating but probably shouldn't, let's talk about Superman. Now, Superman's theatrical run is coming to an end because Superman has actually, by the time this comes out, it has officially launched on VOD. It launched on VOD on August 15th. And we have an explanation for why VOD is happening right now. According to multiple sources, James Gunn, who of course helmed the Superman project, he has explained that the reasoning behind the recently announced VOD release for Superman is due to the upcoming release of the second season of Peacemaker. So, Superman launched on VOD on August 15th. Meanwhile, Peacemaker Season 2 is set to launch on August 22nd. Yeah. Of all the recent PR that I've seen, because, PR is PR, it's damage control. They're trying to find ways to make things seem a certain way, trying to present smoke and mirrors. This is clearly an attempt at smoke and mirrors. And I gotta say that this has to be some of the laziest I've seen in a while. Because anyone who sees the numbers for Superman can completely understand why it's launching on VOD right now. It's been underperforming. Everybody knows the game at this point when it comes to VOD. When it comes to releasing theatrical releases early on streaming. Everyone knows what that means. If the film seeks out streaming a few weeks after launch, it shows that the company isn't satisfied with the results, and they're hoping to collect any additional money off of its streaming sales for double the price of a movie ticket, by the way, because they put up like a $20 or $30 paywall. It's crazy. Now, if the film doesn't seek out streaming early, that's an indication of the satisfaction. That's an indication of the satisfaction of the company. So we all know this isn't performing well. I know that there are aspects that you can poke out with the film that people will bring up that, oh, well, look, it's done great domestically when you compare it to the sales of Man of Steel. But I don't think the company cares about that. I mean, sure, it's done well and better in North America compared to Man of Steel, but you have to consider the entire package. You have to consider how it's done overall, general gross. That's what they want to. That's what they're going to care more about at the end of the day. And this is potentially going to come in less than Man of Steel. And I don't think the company's happy with that. I think that they would have wanted this film to be a $1 billion film, or at least an $800 to $900 million film. It's right now crossing 600 million. So, I mean, comparatively speaking, yes, it is going to be the highest grossing superhero film of the year, but even then, that's not even a good thing because none of Marvel's films have made a dime. None of Marvel's films have turned profit. And I seriously doubt that this is going to be a major profit. This is going to be majorly profitable either. So I think that we just all know this. We all know why it's on VOD right now. It's just not doing well. We know this needs to hit higher marks. And we know it's not going to at this point. They've pretty much have come to that realization themselves, the company. When you have to put it on VOD, you're telling, especially after, just a month? Maybe even less than that? That is very much admitting to the fact that this is not done well. And you need to find a way to make some kind of money. And the theatrical window is just no longer that resource, so you have to jump to VOD. So I think the company knows it. We all know it. I just think it's such a dumb way to frame this. I don't understand. How does the second season of a television show impact a theatrical release? They're not one and the same. They're not. It's just an excuse to cover up what really is a disappointment for the company. So yeah, I found that explanation just kind of laughable, and I just don't see what the hell he's talking about. All I see is just lies, just to be frank about it. So alrighty, we got 2 trailers to discuss for today, and then we're gonna call it a day. So let's get into it. So the first trailer we're going to discuss is the teaser for a film called Marty Supreme. This is being co-written and directed by Josh Safdie, not with his brother. I believe it's Benny Safdie. Because I think I heard the Safdie brothers have split up, so they're not working together on films anymore. They're just kind of doing their own little things. But Josh Safdie being one of the Safdie brothers, you guys probably know the Safdie brothers for films such as Good Time, which I enjoy, Uncut Gems, which I also enjoy, and individually they've done their own little work here and there. Benny Safdie doing a lot of acting bits, Josh Safdie kind of being behind the camera. This has a release date for Christmas Day 2025, and this stars Timothy Chalamet, Gwyneth Paltrow, Abel Ferrara, which is strange. I believe it's a filmmaker. I then probably butchered his name, sorry. And Fran Drescher, I can say her name, the president of SAG-AFTRA, is a part of this. Interesting. Probably got some really great financial support because of that. I gotta be honest with you. This really didn't do anything for me. It really left nothing for me. I can acknowledge the potential in its performances. I honestly don't get the craze for Chalamet. I honestly think he's overrated. I really do. I've never understood the major appeal for him. In a supporting capacity, I can kind of see merit, but as a leading man, I've never gotten attached. Other than maybe the potential in its performances, it just reminds me, honestly, of the trailer to A Complete Unknown, like another Timothée Chalamet thing. Especially this whole subplot of him being in 2 separate relationships, or 2 relationships happening simultaneously. I really got nothing out of it. It's not to say it's bad, it's just to say that I don't really care. I don't really care. So yeah, not particularly interested in it. But maybe with more footage, maybe I'll change my mind. But as it stands, I could really care less. So. And finally, we're going to talk about the trailer for a film called Steve. This stars Cillian Murphy and Emily Watson. It's being directed by Tim Malance. I think that's how I say his name. He's the guy who directed the film Small Things Like These, which I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed that a lot. This has a release date for October 3rd, 2025. Being released on Netflix. Of course, it'll have a limited release prior to that, but October 3rd is the day it comes out on Netflix. From what I can gather, based off the description of the video and just the trailer itself, it seems to be a study of pressures in handling aggressive behaviors or violent tendencies within the group of young people. It's apparently set in a reform school, according to the description provided. And that kind of also adds to my feeling about it being about aggression and, violent tendencies. There seems to be a part of that of that waking anxiety, which seems to be a part of it as well, especially through the perspective of Cillian Murphy's character. And given that talent that is involved, both in front and behind the camera, I'm very curious to see how this plays out. Like I said, I really liked Small Things Like These. I found it to be very intriguing, and I hope that craftsmanship is carried over here. I really do. I think generally by just by edit, I think it's a well-made trailer. I hope that it matches in that sentiment when I see the film. So we'll see. I'll definitely be on the lookout for this. Netflix definitely has some interesting stuff coming out later this year. So definitely we'll be on the lookout for this. Looks very intriguing. So we'll see. We'll see how it all pans out. So, but yeah, those are my thoughts for this week, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Little bite-sized video this time around. Yeah, little bite-sized video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, your thoughts on all these topics that we had for today, your guys' thoughts on Shrek 5 being delayed, your thoughts on Universal getting their film rights, or more like television and film rights in perpetuity to the Jason Bourne franchise, your thoughts on a prequel to Weapons, or what would you guys like to see Zach Kreger tackle next in his career, your thoughts on the whole Superman VOD explanation provided by James Gunn. I think it's ridiculous. Your thoughts on the Marty Supreme trailer and the Steve trailer. Let me know all your thoughts on all these topics in the comment section below. And that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. And until then, I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.